And Tootsie Flute makes 3 by Stephen Little. My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, and all associated characters are copyright by Hasbro. Lyra and Bonbon, as usual, were enjoying the warm day on the park bench outside their house. Rainbow Dash and the weather team had done a particularly excellent job clearing the clouds on that amazing summer day. Lyra was reading the latest copy of the Canterlot Musical Review, while Bonbon flipped through her favorite sweets catalog, looking for ideas for the shop. In the background, young fillies and colts frolicked about the playground. Bonbon couldn't help but look up from her magazine and watch them at play. The little colts and fillies gamboled and amused themselves amongst the swings and jungle gym without a care in the world. Behind them, proud parents stood watching their offspring. Bonbon went back to her reading when she felt a pair of eyes watching her. Looking up from her catalogue again, she saw a pony she had never met before. The mare was orange with a dark green mane and the cutie mark of an upside-down top hat. She wasn't overly skinny, but was definitely on the thin side. Her eyes were the same green color as her mane and radiated a hatred that Bonbon was all too familiar with. "Can I help you?" she asked.
"Yes, you can take yourself and your filly-fooler friend out of here. I heard about the disgusting relationship you two have, and the last thing these colts and fillies need is your kind of influence,"
the mare shouted.
"Excuse me,"
Lyra said, getting up from the bench.
"And who the heck do you think you are talking to us like that? We live in the sweet shop right over there. We have as much right to use this park as anyone else." "Isn't that convenient? Now you can corrupt these young minds from the comfort of your own home. Besides, the very idea of two filly-foolers operating a shop that caters to mostly colts and fillies is absolutely deviant. Celestia only knows what you could be doing in there with those children if their parents weren't around."
Bonbon was outraged.
"Did you just call us a couple of foal molesters?"
Lyra stepped up and pushed Bonbon behind her. Leaning close to the orange mare, she gave her a big, toothy grin.
"Why don't you try saying that again? Go ahead, see what happens." "What's going on over here?"
came a familiar voice. Several parents rushed past Twilight Sparkle and Ditsy Do with their children to get away from the scene playing out next to the playground. The two mares pushed their way through the crowd that had gathered around the obnoxiously loud orange earth pony.
"Twilight Sparkle, finally someone who knows what I'm talking about. Tell these two degenerates that what they're doing isn't normal. The very idea of parading their perversion in public is almost too much to handle." "Then why don't you go back to your trailer at the carnival, pumpkin?"
Twilight said scornfully. The orange mare was shocked at the response.
"It just so happens that I was the maid of honor at their wedding. And for your information, the concept of two mares or two stallions loving one another is older than Equestria itself, and there's nothing wrong with it. Princess Celestia herself presided over the wedding. If she deems them worthy, then who are you to question it?" "Why do you have to be so mean? Lyra and Bonbon are really, really nice. They've never hurt any pony,"
Ditsy reprimanded.
"They watch my little muffin all the time, and I know she's safe with them. Didn't your mommy and daddy ever tell you that if you can't say something nice, then you shouldn't say anything at all?"
Pumpkin was speechless. Looking around, the orange mare saw the angry faces of the ponies around her.
"What's wrong with all of you? What they're doing is wrong. It's just not natural."
"You're condemning ponies you don't even know. What's natural about that?"
shouted one member of the crowd.
"Yeah, why don't you leave before you make a bigger fool of yourself?"
came another. Bumpkin started to back away, then turned and ran off.
"Are you two okay?"
Ditsy asked.
"Yeah, Dits, we're good. Wow, what a nut,"
Lyra said.
"I can't believe her,"
Twilight said.
"It's a good thing their carnival is leaving town soon." "How do you know her, Twilight?"
Bonbon asked.
"Oh, she has a magic act with the carnival. I was interested to know how a non-unicorn could do magic, so I went to meet her. It's mostly sleight of hoof and parlor tricks. She seemed nice enough to me. I didn't realize she was like that."
Bonbon could still hear the foals playing in the background. That, plus the verbal assault she'd just been through, was trying on her.
"I think I'm going to lay down. Thanks for your help, Twilight. You too, Ditsy."
She picked up her catalogue and started back towards the home she shared with Lyra.
"I hope you feel better, Bonbon,"
Ditsy called out as a cream-colored pony walked back to her home. Lara quickly caught up with her wife, leaving Twilight and Ditsy to go about their business.
"Everything all right?"
she asked.
"I'm fine. I just need to lie down. I'm starting to develop a headache,"
she said as she walked towards their home. Lara walked beside her.
"Bonnie, I know when something's bothering you, and I also know it wasn't that stupid mare. We've dealt with that type before and it never affects you like this. Was it the fillies and colts again?" she asked.
Bonbon was starting to get annoyed. She didn't want to talk about it at the moment, but Lyra wouldn't let it go.
"I don't know why you hate kids so much, with the shop and all."
Bonbon was shocked beyond words. Unable to speak, she ran away to the shop, tears pouring from her eyes. Lyra just stood there. Lyra sat there on the side of the road, her jaw hanging open, while her wife ran away from her in tears. Looking up at the shop with its unusual architecture, she couldn't help but see a home instead of a business. She and Bonbon had built the 2-story shop the previous year, and on Bonbon's insistence, the building looked like a large round cookie tin. The exterior walls were vertically striped light and dark blue. The roof was flat with a small incline towards the back to allow for water to run off. The front door was the same shade of light blue as the walls, and a small porch wrapped around the front of the store. Starting on the first day of spring, she and Bonbon had planted several flowering bushes on either side of the porch, finally finishing off her wife's vision of their home and her means of livelihood. Lyra walked inside the lobby of the shop, framed with cabinets and shelves filled to the brim with sweets and all manner of assorted candies, many Bonbon herself had made. Walking past the front counter where the register and some of the more exotic candies were kept, Lyra entered the kitchen. The confectioner's kitchen was stocked with every kind of candy-making equipment known to ponykind. Everything from a taffy pulling machine to an industrial chocolate coder stood waiting and ready.
"Bonnie, you in here?"
Lyra's question went unanswered. The door to the bathroom at the back of the kitchen was open. The only place she could be was upstairs in their apartment. As Lyra climbed the stairs to her home, she could hear crying. Walking through the living room and past the upstairs kitchen, she made her way down the hall to their bedroom. Bonbon lay across their bed, crying her soulful blue eyes out. Lyra edged the door open and poked her head in.
"Bonnie? Go away!"
she shouted through her sobs. Lyra walked in anyway and nuzzled her cheek.
"I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you sound like such a monster,"
Lyra apologized. Bonbon looked up into her mate's eyes.
"Do you really think I hate foals?"
she asked. Lyra crawled onto the bed and lay next to her, facing the ceiling.
"I don't know. Every time we go somewhere that has fillies and colts around, you want to go somewhere else, or at least as far away from them as you can get,"
she said, waving her hoofs at the ceiling. Lyra turned her head so that she was looking right into her lover's eyes and spoke softly.
"Every time I try to talk to you about it, you change the subject. Just talk to me, love."
Bonbon bit her lip and, as calmly as she could, confessed what was in her heart.
"I want a foal, Lyra. It hurts to see all those little ones playing and knowing we'll never have one of our own."
Lyra's heart melted and hugged her wife to her.
"Oh, Bonnie, I'm so sorry."
Lyra began to cry.
"I didn't know. I wish we could have a foal together, but it's just not possible. There has to be a way,"
she sobbed. Lyra took Bonbon's face in her hoof and looked her in the eye.
"Bonnie, the only way we could have a foal is if we get some stallion to mount you or me until one or both of us get pregnant, and I think neither of us wants that."
Bonbon shook her head.
"The only pony I want a foal with is you."
Lyra smiled.
"Of course, we could always ask Big Macintosh if he wanted to do the deed. I saw you looking at his flank." "I wasn't looking at his flank. For the last time I was looking past him at the shop window."
Bonbon huffed, scrunching up her nose in the process.
"What about Twilight Sparkle?"
she asked optimistically. Lyra thought for a second.
"Nah, she's not my type. Too bookish."
Bonbon laughed.
No, you know what I mean. With all those books, she might know of another way. It couldn't hurt to ask. At least I got you smiling. Twilight, huh? Never thought of that. If you want, we can go over and ask, but I don't know if she's back yet. I have no idea what she and Ditzy were up to today. We can try at least. Let me compose myself and then we can walk over. Bonbon walked into the upstairs bathroom and washed her face. Lara lay there on the bed, lost in her own thoughts. Mummy Lyra, Mama Bonbon, now that has a nice ring to it. Bonbon came out of the bathroom and lightly kicked her wife. Let's go, Lyra, the day isn't getting any longer. Bonbon practically flew all the way to the library with Lara in tow. Dodging ponies and weaving around carts and stands, the pair arrived at the library just as Twilight was waving goodbye to Ditzy. Twilight turned and saw her two friends come to a somewhat dusty halt. Is everything all right, girls? Pumpkin didn't come back to harass you some more, did she? Twilight asked from behind the bottom half of her Dutch-style front door. No, she didn't come back, Twilight. We could really use your help with something, Lyra said rather assertively. It's really important, please, Bonbon added. Oh well, come in then. Twilight opened the door and let them in. The three ponies walked over by the fireplace and made themselves comfortable. Again, I'm really sorry what happened at the park earlier. Had I known she was like that, I would have warned you. We know, Twilight, it's not about that, Bonbon reassured her. Well then, what can I do for you? Lara and Bonbon looked at each other for a second before Bonbon nodded her head. We want to have a foal, Lara said bluntly. Twilight fell over in shock. I don't really see how I can help you with that sort of thing, she said with more than a little surprise. Well, we thought with all these books you might know of something other than propositioning a stallion, Bonbon said. Not your first choice, I take it, Lara said, smiling lightly. No, Lara and Bonbon said in unison. Well, I do have this one book, but I don't know if there's anything in there for you, Twilight confessed. We'll try anything, Lara said. Twilight saw the hope radiating from the eyes of the two ponies in front of her. The lavender unicorn stood up and walked to the far bookshelf on the right side of the fireplace. She seemed to be looking for a very specific book. No, what's that doing here? No, here we go. Twilight pulled a book off the shelf and, reaching into the book stack, she triggered a hidden switch. There was a loud click and secret compartment opened to the left of the fireplace. Twilight cantered over with a smile and pulled a large, black-bound book from its hiding place. Looking at the two mares watching her, she winked at them. Hey, a girl needs her secrets. What is it? Bonbon asked curiously. Twilight placed the book on the floor in front of them. The title read, The Really Big Book of Sex Magic. It's not what you think. This book is full of spells that help ponies out with various problems in, that apartment. Twilight flipped through the book page after page. No, that's not it. Wow, I didn't know you could do that with a horn. I'm going to have to come back to that one later. Lara and Bonbon giggled as Twilight continued to flip through the book. Here it is. For ponies that have problems conceiving a foal. I think that should do it. What does it do? Lara asked. Twilight scanned the page. It says here that the spell essentially replaces the organs that aren't working on one male and one female pony for 24 hours. In other words, it helps ponies with fertility issues become pregnant. For our purposes, I think I can alter the spell slightly so that for the next 24 hours, one of you will be male. At that point, you do what comes natural. It'll take me a bit to fully understand the spell, so you might want to pick up a book or something. Feel free to raid the icebox. For the next few hours, Twilight studied the spell in great detail. From time to time, she would levitate another book over to confirm a thought she had with elements of the spell. Lara and Bonbon were relaxing in front of the fire, reading a copy of The Little Sea Pony. Twilight closed two of her reference books triumphantly. All right, I've got it now. This was a hard one, but I know I can definitely alter the spell to get it to do what I want. Twilight, how do we know it will work? Bonbon asked, concerned. Well, according to this, upon the completion of the spell, the female will immediately start her estrus. What I'm doing isn't altering that part of the spell, so it's practically a guarantee that a pregnancy will result. Twilight explained. Lyra looked to Bonbon. I'm willing to try if you are, she said. Let's do it. We have nothing to lose, Bonbon said excitedly. Okay, who's going to carry the foal to term? Twilight asked them. We never really thought about. I'll do it, Bonbon said, cutting off Lyra in her enthusiasm. Are you sure, love? Lyra asked, concerned. Bonbon smiled at her wife. Of course I am. It would be easier for me, and besides, how would it look with you pregnant on stage? Not so easy for any musician. I'll be home or in the shop. Help will be nearby if I need it, and to be honest, I really, really want to do this, Bonbon said, nuzzling against Lyra's neck. Lyra could never resist her when she was like this. Okay, I guess that means I get to be the stud for this experiment, Lyra surmised. This should be interesting. Twilight moved them to one side of the room and she went to the other. As soon as everyone was ready, Twilight began to concentrate on her spell. She spread her legs to give herself a better footing as her horn began to sparkle and glow. Little by little the glow began to grow and get more energetic. A light purple radiance enveloped both Lyra and Bonbon as the wind appeared to have sprung up from nowhere, blowing everything around. There was a bright flash, and suddenly it was over, with Twilight sprawled on the floor panting. I think that's done it, she said, trying to catch her breath. How do we know it worked? Lyra asked. Twilight looked up and pointed under Lyra. She looked down between her legs. Well, that wasn't there before, Lyra said, surprised. Bonbon nudged her lover a little urgently. Lyra looked over and noticed that Bonbon's cream coat was decidedly pinker and she was breathing a little heavily. Trust me, honey, it's definitely working, Bonbon reassured her. Thanks a bunch, Twilight. We'll never forget you for this. Lyra, sweetie, we really need to be going. As Lyra was rushed out the door, Twilight waved goodbye to them. Have fun! Twilight blushed, holding her hoofs up to her mouth, realizing what she had said. Lyra and Bonbon ran back to their house faster than a wonderbolt, trying to take the lead in a race. Lyra shut the door behind them, spun around and came nose to nose with her mate. Bonbon kissed her passionately. You, bedroom, now, she said with more brazenness that was usually associated with her. Yes, ma'am, Lyra said, saluting. They both ran upstairs, slamming the door behind them. After much moaning, screaming and various other bedroom noises, the room went quiet. Lyra and Bonbon lay on the bed, panting. That was amazing, Bonbon said, trying to control her breath, her heart beating rapidly. Lyra kissed her lover's nose. So that's what stallions are always raving about. You were great, love, she said, breathing heavily. Bonbon kissed her back and began to stroke Lyra's mane lovingly. Honey? Yes, love, Lyra asked her. Again? The cream-colored pony asked. She looked at her wife with the best seductive gaze, causing something to stir once again beneath the mint-green unicorn. Lyra was surprised. Bonbon was usually a one-performance-a-night girl, but she wasn't about to question a good thing. For the rest of the night and half the next day, the two lovers didn't leave their bedroom. In the end, they had both collapsed from the exertion. When Lyra woke later that afternoon, she couldn't help but peek under the sheets. A slow sigh escaped her lips. Everything all right, honey? Bonbon asked. Yeah, but I'm going to miss that thing. It was fun, Lyra expressed. Bonbon stroked her lover's mane. It's okay, dear. I like you better this way. The two mares kissed and went back to sleep.
It had been 2 weeks since Twilight's spell wore off and Bonbon was getting impatient.
"So when are we supposed to know if I'm pregnant or not?" she asked. "Twilight said it might take a while. If you need to know right now, why don't we go to the hospital and get you checked out?"
Lyra suggested.
"It's not that I absolutely have to know right now, but it would be nice to know that it worked."
The cream-colored Earth pony sighed.
"No offense or anything, Lyra, but if at all possible, I'd rather not do that again. I love you, and I know it was still you, but at the same time, it sort of wasn't you. Does that make sense?"
Lyra noticed her wife avoiding eye contact with her.
"Hey, babe, it's okay. I'm not insulted or anything. I understand, kind of. I just hope that if you are pregnant, you'll still consider the full hours." "Of course I will. Just because you were changed for a little while and it made me feel a little uncomfortable after the fact, it doesn't mean the baby isn't part of you,"
Bonbon said.
"Let's go get Twilight and then go to the hospital. I think it's only fair that she be there with us."
Lyra kissed her wife passionately.
"Between you and me, I hope any foal we have takes after you."
Later that day found Bonbon and Lyra at the hospital. They were patiently waiting with Twilight for the results of Bonbon's pregnancy test.
"I'm worried, Twilight. What happens if it didn't work? Can we try again?"
Bonbon asked.
"I'm sure we could, but I'd have to find out what went wrong the first time. There would be no point to simply cast the spell again and hope for a different outcome."
Twilight gave each of them a comforting hug.
"That's a problem with combining magics and altering some other pony's spell. Sometime it can work out and other times not so much. If this didn't work, I will probably look into writing an entirely new spell myself, but that will take some time."
The nurse who conducted the test walked into the lobby and gave the test results to Twilight. Slowly turning it over, she read the report.
"Well, did it work?"
Lyra asked. Twilight lowered the paper, a look of false disappointment on her face. She shook her head.
"I'm sorry, it's positive."
Lyra hugged Bonbon tightly, nuzzling her cheek in an attempt to offer her some comfort. Both of their heads snapped up to face a smiling Twilight when they realized what she said.
"Wait, what? It's positive? We're gonna be moms!"
Lyra shouted. The two ponies grabbed Twilight and hugged her, tears streaming down their cheeks.
"I'm so happy it worked. You two are going to be great mothers,"
Twilight said.
"Thank you, Twilight. Thank you so much. You don't know how much this means to us,"
Bonbon gushed. Lyra and Bonbon left the hospital and slowly walked home, talking about all the things they'd have to change at the cottage to get ready for the foal and all the ways their life would change.
"At first we can keep the foal in our room, but eventually we'll have to fix up a room for it,"
Bonbon said.
"The foal can have my practice room. I can always practice in the bedroom or the guest room,"
Lyra said.
"Why don't we just use the guest room? That way you can keep your practice room,"
Bonbon asked her.
"Well, what if a friend or one of our family members comes to visit? You want to turn them away or tell them they have to go find a hotel or something?" "No, I can go without a practice room. If nothing else, I can convert the attic space into a new practice room."
Bonbon hugged her wife.
"I knew there was a reason I married you." "I thought it was because you couldn't resist my flank,"
Lyra laughed. As they reached their door, Bonbon looked sultry at Lyra from over her shoulder.
"You're right, and I know you feel the same way about mine,"
she said, shaking her backside at her wife as she walked into their house. Lyra looked up into the blue sky, closed her eyes and put her hoofs together.
"Dear sweet Celestia, I don't know what I did to deserve this, but thanks."
Over the next 11 months, Bonbon slowly started to show her pregnancy, getting bigger and bigger. Lyra, for her part, had developed a sympathy pregnancy, and every time the foal kicked, Lyra swore she could feel it. The days passed much like they always had. Bonbon took care of the sweet shop while Lyra performed at various events and concerts. In the last 3 months, fooling around was out of the question. Even so, the doctor told them that it was perfectly okay. They didn't want to take any chances. After all, the pregnancy was magically facilitated. As the delivery date neared, Lyra began skipping concert work to stay home with Bonbon as much as possible. She had just turned down another concert when Bonbon walked into the room. "You did it again, didn't you?" she asked. "Yes, as a matter of fact, I did. Music can wait, my family is what's more important," Lyra said. "Lyra, I love you, but sometimes you really are dense. What happens when the calls stop because you turned down too many gigs? I want you to call them back and take the job. This foal isn't coming for a while. I can survive without you for a few days. Besides, it's not like you're leaving town, are you?" "No, the position is here in town for the Spring Has Sprung celebration." "Okay, I'll call them back and take the job, but only because you want me to." Bonbon kissed her wife. "At least you know who still wears the apron in this family." Lyra had just finished the first day of practice for the concert and was on her way home when she bumped into Ditsy Doo. "How's it going, Lyra?" the grey pony asked her. "Oh, hi, Ditsy. It's going fine, just heading home after practice. I'm anxious to get home. Bonbon is due any day and I don't want to miss it," she told her. Ditsy flapped her wings excitedly. "Oh, I remember when I had Dinky. You guys are gonna have so much fun." Lyra was about to open the door when she heard shouting from inside the shop. The voice was distinctly familiar. Slamming the door open, she saw her wife being verbally accosted by an Earth pony mare with a pale blue coat and white mane and tail. The man in question was much older than either Lyra or Bonbon, and her voice carried an accent of some ponies that had lived in Manhattan most of their life. "Mother, what in the hay are you doing here?" Lyra yelled in shock. "I had to come since you don't know how to return a letter, and look what I found. How long ago did this happen and who's the father?" "If you must know, I'm the father. Now back away from my wife." Lyra ran between Bonbon and her mother. "How is that even possible?" the older unicorn asked, stunned. "It's called magic for a reason. I don't have to explain a damn thing," she yelled. "You should have learned that from Dad, and by the way, you lost your right to demand anything from me when you threw our wedding invitation back in our face. Why the heck are you here anyway?" "I came to inform you that your father has filed a divorce and is moving to Canterlot, but since you don't seem to read your mail anymore, I decided to come in person." "Good. Dad finally took my advice. Ever since our wedding, you've been nothing but hurtful and self-absorbed. You've been so worried about how my marriage would look on you that you forgot that your family is more important than your social standing." Lyra pointed at the door. "Now, if you don't mind, I suggest you leave before I throw you out the door myself." "I can see that you have no intention of listening to reason. Farewell, Lyra. Good luck raising a child with two mothers. The world's not as forgiving as your father is." Ditsy kicked the door closed behind her. "What is with ponies this year?" Lyra turned around to find Bonbon leaning against the wall behind the back counter. "Are you okay, Bonnie?" Lyra asked, a little panicked. Bonbon was breathing heavily. "I think my water broke. Oh, Lyra, I think the foal's coming." "Ditsy, go get the doctor and hurry!" Lyra shouted. Ditsy saluted and took off like a bolt. Lyra eased Bonbon down to the floor and tried to comfort her. "Remember the classes. You have to be calm. Ditsy will be back with the doctor soon." Lyra stroked Bonbon's mane, attempting to calm her. Slowly, they worked into the breathing rhythm they were taught in the foaling classes. It wasn't long when Ditsy returned, dragging a certain chestnut-colored pony with her. "I got the doctor," she announced. "Ditsy, why'd you drag me all the way over here?" he asked. "Duh, Bonbon's having her baby and she needs a doctor," Ditsy explained. "I'm not that kind of doctor. How many times do I have to tell you that?" Lyra was in no mood for argument or drama. Walking right up to him, she towered over the chestnut-colored stallion. "Do you know anything about foaling?" she asked bluntly. "Well, I suppose I know a little more than the basics. It's pretty similar for most mammals, but I'm hardly board certified." Lyra snorted steam. "You know enough then. Help her, or so help me, I'll make sure you eat your meal through a straw." Thoroughly cowed, the doctor trotted over to Bonbon. "A bit excitable, isn't she?" "You have no idea," she responded. "Okay, Miss Lyra, she's fully dilated. Bit odd though, usually that takes hours. How long ago did your water break?" "I don't know, an hour maybe." Bonbon told him.
Either way, this seems to be progressing fairly quickly. Bonbon, is it? When I tell you to push, you push as hard as you can. Miss Lyra, why don't you go sit down behind her and rest her head on your lap? Physical contact is very important with this sort of thing. Miss Bonbon, when the next contraction happens, I want you to push hard.
The contraction hit Bonbon like a wave. As she bore down, her abdomen felt like it was tearing itself apart. Pushing as hard as she could hear Lyra calling out words of encouragement.
Come on, love, you can do it. Push,
Lyra called out. The contraction ended and Bonbon rested her head in Lyra's lap, tears flowing from her eyes.
Miss Lyra, do you know any pain-blocking spells, or is your talent completely musical in nature?
The doctor asked.
All unicorns now can perform a basic pain charm, she said. Good, you might want to use it on Bonbon. Childbirth can be incredibly painful, and if you can block some of it, all the better.
The next contraction came and went, but with much less pain. Lyra offered Bonbon her hooves to hold on to and provide her some leverage to push down on. Bonbon felt the next contraction build and pushed hard, hugging Lyra's hooves to her chest. Lyra tried to pour more magic into the pain charm as she watched her wife's face scrunch up and grimace with pain and effort.
Keep pushing, Miss Bonbon, I can see the foal's nose.
The contraction ended and another was close behind.
Push, Miss Bonbon, you can do it,
the doctor shouted out. The foal's head was fully outside of Bonbon.
Tootsie,
the doctor shouted.
Go and get the town's physician. It won't be much longer at this rate, and she'll need to be looked at by a medical doctor to ensure everything is fine.
Tootsie saluted again and flew off.
One more time, dear, just one more,
the doctor said as another contraction ripped through Bonbon's body. With a mighty effort, the foal's shoulder had passed. The doctor placed a hoof on either side of the foal's shoulders.
All right, Miss Bonbon, just one more push on the next contraction. I promise, just one more. Keep pushing, sweetie, it's almost over.
Bonbon pushed as hard as she could. The doctor gently pulled on the foal's small frame, carefully extracting the foal from her. The doctor held the foal upside down and patted its back with a hoof gently until the baby began to cry. Carefully resting the foal in his forelegs, the chestnut stallion offered the newborn to Lyra. Using her magic, she cut the umbilical cord and gently floated the foal up to Bonbon's head. Bonbon wept at the sight of the newborn life that had grown inside of her for the past 11 months. Lyra wept unashamedly at the sight of their foal.
Congratulations, Mummy, it's a unicorn filly,
the mint green unicorn said through her tears. Both Bonbon and Lyra licked the fawn clean, exposing her light blue coat and violet mane and tail.
She's beautiful, my love. What should we name her? Why don't we call her what you suggested the other day?
Lyra said, smiling. The two proud parents spoke almost in unison.
Welcome to the world, Tootsie Flute. Your mummies love you very much.